It's challenging enough to care for aging parents who live close by, but many Americans are having to care for their aging parents from afar. Here to share some ways to make long-distance care easier is Jody Gasfriend, Vice President of Senior Care at Care.com. Thanks so much for joining us, Jody.
Thank you.
So tell us some unique differences between those who are caring for their aging parents who live far away.
Well, typically the definition of long-distance caregiving is that you live an hour or more from your parents, and that's a lot of us. One of the things that we suggest is notice differences, and particularly differences in the home. Are your parents all of a sudden not taking care of themselves or their house? So if you start to notice differences in behavior and self-care as well as taking care of the home, then it's really time to ask some really important questions. So it's really getting involved.
It seems like the most difficult part is that initial conversation that you should be having, right, with your parent to make sure that they're doing okay, they're feeling okay. How difficult can that be?
I think it's tough for a lot of people, and that's why people avoid it. One of the first suggestions I have is if there are siblings, try to get on the same page before you approach your parents. Find out, do you have different perceptions of what's going on with mom and dad? And maybe have some division of labor. And then when you approach your parent, try to approach it from a place of concern and empathy.
What are some ways to sort of ease into this transition?
What I suggest a lot of times is once you begin to familiarize yourself with differences between Medicaid, Medicare, long-term care insurance, veterans benefits, all these things that help pay for care at different times, you can say to your parents, you know, I just learned something that veterans benefits can actually pay for in-home care or long-term care. And that's one way to approach the financial piece, which can be very difficult. And you might even say, wow, I just learned the average cost of a nursing home is $80,000 a year. That I didn't realize that. Not that you'll ever need one, but it made me think that we need to start talking about this.
And we should realize that, I mean, it might be all met with some pushback at first. Should we be realistic what our goals are?
I think the pushback is natural, and it's really best to introduce the idea of help very incrementally. So maybe, you know, Mom, maybe it would help to, instead of Dad driving you to the doctor's, maybe we hire someone to be able to take you twice a week to your doctor's appointments. Something that doesn't infringe on someone's independence in a big way, because our parents have the right to make decisions even if we think they're bad ones. So we have to remember our parents are still our parents, even if they're getting older and more frail and dependent. And I think respecting that relationship is really important, especially when we live far away. So it's finding ways to be able to get that help, that information.
Exactly. Great information. Thank you so much. And for more health news, check out boston.com/health. I'm Lara Salahi, and until next time, be well, Boston.